These are tough times for sports car racing, but a solid 34-car field in 5 classes turned out this weekend for the American Le Mans Series opener, the 12 Hours of Sebring.
And with Audi sitting out this year's race rather than face their arch rivals from Peugeot, the French diesels were the overwhelming favorites.
That's right, but this is Sebring, a race and a track synonymous with surprises. Pick up the action of the pits just past 3 hours. Disaster for the GT class Corvettes. Pow! Emmanuel Collard plows into Jan Magnussen. That's not supposed to happen to 7-time Sebring winners. It ruined the day for both cars. To the battle in Le Mans Prototype 1 now. In the early and middle parts, heck, all day long, the two Peugeots were dominant. More on those French cars in just a moment. To the new LMP Challenge class. Indy Lights champ J.R. Hildebrand was running second in class until he lost control. Bang, into the tire barrier. More trouble, this time in GT. 4.5 hours left. The Porsche of Wolf Hensler loses his right rear wheel. Jörg Bergmeister clips it, bending the left rear rim on his car. The tires cut and soon shredded. Then Bergmeister had to sit in the pits for several laps without making repairs because the pits were closed. Next to the GT leader, ex-Formula One driver Jimmy Bruni in the Risi Ferrari trying an outside pass on another car into the grass, but he avoided disaster, and in fact that car led 10 of the 12 hours.
Trouble for the P2 leader as well. 3.5 hours to go, and the Patron Highcroft car in the pits with an electrical problem. The Acura was miles ahead of its rivals before this disaster struck. This gift wrapped the P2 lead and ultimately the win for Klaus Graf in the number 6 Cytosport Porsche RS Spider. Scott Sharp's Ferrari goes up in a spectacular ball of flames. Scott gets out okay, and safety personnel extinguish the inferno.
The only question in the overall was which Peugeot would win, but under an hour left, top of your screen, Sebastian Bourdais spins the 08 car on cold tires while running second, and that would be the end of the challenge to the sister 07 Peugeot. Alex Verse crossing the finish line for the victory, the first for Peugeot at Sebring. And the GT finish on board with Jaime Melo as he brings the 62 Risi Ferrari home. They have now won the 3 top endurance races in the world. Not only the first Sebring win for Peugeot, but also for each of the 3 winning drivers, though Genet and Wirtz were also teammates in the winning car at Le Mans last year. The French cars were first and second in every official session, while the third-place Aston Martin-powered Lola also had a great run in its Sebring debut.
The win in LMP2 was the first for a customer Porsche Spider and the first for driver Greg Pickett in 23 years at the 12 hours. The second-place Acura had a 5-lap lead when electrical gremlins cost it 8 laps in the pits. The biofueled Dyson Racing Lola Mazda made the podium in third. Now more from Sebring.
Alexander Wirtz and Peugeot putting the car on the overall lead after the race today, the first win at Sebring for Peugeot. How was the team able to accomplish this?
Well, clockwork, teamwork. The car, the Peugeot, the 908 ran fantastic. Michelin gave us a great tire, but it wasn't easy because we had a race straight to the end between the 2 cars. There were no team orders, so it was really go for it, and it was just a few seconds in the end. I've spent 3 hours, my last stint, so I'm pretty tired, but I'm so happy after winning Le Mans last year. Now coming to the next classic race, Sebring, winning it again with Anthony Davidson. Absolutely mega.
The GT class win at the 12 hours went to the Risi Ferrari, which has now taken consecutive wins in the classic enduros at Le Mans, Petit Le Mans, and Sebring. They shared the podium with a pair of BMW M3s from Rahal Letterman, the second-place car passing its sister machine off the final corner on the last lap. Our Speed Announce team now wraps things up from Florida.
Here at the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, over the past few years anyway, we're used to Audi versus Peugeot. We didn't have that fight here this year, guys, but it was Peugeot domination. Cal, how did they do it?
Well, they came here with 2 perfectly prepared race cars, and that's what Sebring is all about. And we always say if you can survive 12 hours here at Sebring on this torturous racetrack, it really sets you up very nicely for the month of June. Going over to Le Mans, it really has to make Audi think, hey, these boys haven't missed a beat from last year.
One of the biggest talking points wasn't in the main class, it was in the GT2 class. Dorsey, the collision between the 2 Corvettes, how does that happen with such a well-rehearsed team.
Team Corvette claimed a communication error between the two cars. It's totally inexcusable. The second car coming in, his should be looking out the windshield, not running into the other car. It's an avoidable accident.
A couple of significant milestones with Risi Competizione winning that class. It was their 6th Endurance Classic victory. And for Peugeot overall, they've never even won a class here at the Sebring 12 Hour, so that was an extra special win. We'll see you in a month's time in Long Beach.
All right, thanks, guys. Now, sadly, the 12 Hours lost an important car during testing at Sebring on Monday. The LMP1 class Lola, driven by series veteran and team principal John Field, suffered a massive high-speed accident. According to the team, the right rear suspension failed while the car was traveling at high speed in a straight line. It rose in the air and flipped several times, shedding parts as it tumbled to a stop, fortunately, right side up. Field was transported to a local hospital, but released a few hours later, sore but amazingly unhurt. The car was withdrawn from the race.